For everything you need to make a website or for web hosting or anything to do with that sort of stuff, we've got the solution for you. Just go to our website, supernerdsuk.com, follow the link of WebHostGB, and if you use the promo code NERDS, you can get 15% off. Absolutely marvellous.
Hello and welcome to the SuperNerds UK podcast, your source for all things pop culture. We're here this week with a bit of an Alien special. We've got an interview with Jenette Goldstein, who played Vasquez in the original films. Original films, just Aliens. She wasn't in all of them. She was in Alien 3. She didn't shave her head. Also, we've got a review of the recently released Alien Covenant, which has been in cinemas long enough now that I think we can spoil the shit out of it without anyone caring too much. Yeah. Fantastic. So who have we got with us tonight? We've got me, Ben.
I'm Tim.
I'm John.
Ian.
And I'm here as always, Simon.
So we've got a bit of a round table going on. So there's 5 of us here and we're going to talk about what we like, what we didn't like about Alien Covenant, and then we'll move on to the fantastic interview a little bit after that.
Definitely.
Right, Alien Covenant.
Ooh, very decisive film.
Largely it's been a mixed bag for everyone. It's gone to number 1 at the box office, but it's not really done. It's gone to number 1, but it's been
even though it's got to number 1, disappointed with the numbers. It's been
which I think's like a bit silly. Oh, you won the race, but you were a bit slow. Kind of like the turtle. You're not going to get a half gold, are you? So we did go to number 1, but obviously they were disappointed with the numbers. Alien Covenant is pretty much Prometheus 2, I think.
Yeah.
I think if you took the name Alien off it and just called it Covenant, people would have been probably more happy, but less people would have gone to see it. So picking up from 2012's Prometheus, Covenant finds Michael Fassbender's android
David
trapped in space.
Mm-hmm.
Simon, Alien Covenant, hit me with your thoughts.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it took a while to digest it because there's a lot of things that go on in this that kind of go against the pre-written franchise. A lot of stuff like, birth times and stuff. Little niggly bits now that I look back at is not such an issue.
No.
Because I think Ridley is retconning a lot of things to set up something new.
Right, okay, so Prometheus started it and Covenant continued, and it's sort of a rewriting of the mythology of the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Do you think that implies that he didn't like the James Cameron film and things that followed?
I don't think he didn't like it. I think it just went far off from what he had planned.
And now he's getting to...
He's got control now. He can do what he wants, basically. He's got a budget of, I can do, whatever I want with these films and the money to spend on it.
Fair enough. He's Ridley Scott, like...
No one argues with him, do they?
No.
Ridders,
yeah. So Covenant is basically the story of a spaceship travelling through the galaxy full of colonists looking to set up a new home on a distant planet. Midway through, while charging their solar batteries, they have a bit of an accident and receive a distress call from somewhere. When they get to the place with the distress call, shit hits the fan.
Sound familiar?
Sound like every other sci-fi horror film. Did I just describe Event Horizon? Did I just describe Sunshine?
Just described Aliens. Well, Aliens, they knew where they were going.
Yeah, it still fucking hit the fan, didn't it? Ian, what were your before we move over to Misery Corner, what were your thoughts?
I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Prometheus, which I know, similar to this, I got a bit of a mixed bag when it came to reviews, and people wanted to go and see an Alien film and they never got it. They got Prometheus. The one thing I think though is that this alien stuff was tagged on at the end. I don't think this was originally there. I don't think the alien was meant to be there. Well, the aliens were not the xenomorphs.
The neomorph things.
Just sticking with the neos.
I do think it was designed to go towards the alien at the end, but I think it shouldn't have been called Alien Covenant, and I don't think they should have used the alien in the marketing.
No.
I think that gave away too much.
Would you have been happier if they still had that in there but left it out until you got to the cinema and was like, oh, the xenomorphs in it?
I would have been made up with that.
Yeah.
When you got to Frankenstein's castle and he's doing all the experiments and you saw...
Just bang on what it is. It is. Like, I love the set pieces in this of like his Leonardo da Vinci kind of artwork he's got of the dissections he's been doing.
Of course, we're not talking about Frankenstein. We're talking about Michael Fassbender's David, who in the plot has been trapped on this engineer homeworld for 10 years.
Yeah.
And has basically wiped out the entire planet and started playing God with some biomechanical creations and genetic engineering.
Yeah.
And it's basically shifting the creation myth of the xenomorphs onto him. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah. I'd say he's the sole creator now.
Do you think, is that how you're taking it?
I think he is. I mean,
well, he's taken their bio weapon and then
used it against
spliced it and moved it into something else.
Well, he says in the film, he says the black pathogen, it comes out in different forms and that, but he's kind of engineered it and hybrided it to the form he wants.
Through like years of practicing.
Yeah, because you see, again in his lab, you see all the different incarnations. Even there's like a big face hugger thing where it's like massive.
Like the action figures
one
from the 90s.
Probably. Like the one on Prometheus. That massive face hugger on Prometheus.
No, not the trilobite. It's got fingers. It's not like that.
Have you been to see it just the once, yeah?
I've only been to see it the once.
Have you hit the message boards about this?
No.
What have you been doing? How do you know so much?
I watch a lot of people who are into the Alien franchises.
So you have gone deep into...
Yeah, I mean, I go into, you know, the people who love the franchise as much as I do, and they've broken it down, and there's, you know, because they're looking at it a different way, there's not that much hate, and I don't want that to come across as being a fanboy, so I'm blinded by something that may potentially just be bad.
Yeah, I've never got that fanboy rage thing. I've never done that.
I think he's so lucky. How he can find so many people to go in that are going into about aliens. I can't find anyone who does that much research on Police Academy.
All the Sex and the City films.
Yeah. I'll leave that to YouTube.
Yeah. Sex and the City too. Electric Boogaloo. So overall for you, it was good then, Ian?
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. The best things about it is the things that were really, really good were the stuff I want from an Alien film or a Prometheus film. There was a couple of white knuckle, really screen grabbing killings. At the start where you get to see the first alien that comes out.
The neomorph thing.
Yeah, when they start coming, they're scary.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me that this film isn't scary.
It is a scary film. I just feel like the tension wasn't there for me in some ways.
I think maybe
weightless.
As good as the first neomorph that comes is good. Maybe they could have waited another 10-15 minutes for it just to build up the tension a little bit, because it was like they landed and it was there.
Yeah. The
to be fair,
back
by that
half
point
the film does go at a certain speed and doesn't stop.
The front half of the film dragged like a dog's ass on the carpet though, didn't it? It was slow build. I'm not saying that as an insult. I enjoyed that.
And plus you've got all the YouTube videos as well.
In what do you mean?
Well, the sort of little 2-minute...
Oh, are you saying all the extras that weren't actually in the film?
Yeah,
oh, right,
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying you've got all that.
I just thought I might have fell asleep and missed a bit where Daniel McBride was on his iPad.
Watching a cat play the piano.
In space.
Yeah, what I mean, if you want to get like some more characterization from the actors and a little bit more sort of understanding about what's happened at the beginning, you can watch the videos on the YouTube.
Yeah, they've left two
the Last Supper, is it, and the
Crossing.
The Crossing.
So if you want to see James Franco, you need to go to YouTube.
Well, I just
hey, let's talk about before we
No, I'm just saying if people want to see this film, it's probably worth watching them as well.
Yeah,
well, it's all the viral stuff you're meant to.
So.
Yeah.
James Franco was in this film for about 6 seconds.
Before he became Mr. Toasty.
He's asleep. Then he's on fire, and then you see him on an iPad. In what looks to be, but I genuinely think they might have just had footage left over from 127 hours.
I was about to say, my arm's trapped.
Yeah,
I'll just see him hacking through it.
Yeah, fucking hell.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You went to see Alien Covenant.
Yeah, I'm a bit on the fence with my review. Like I liked it in some points. I thought Fassbender was brilliant as David, and Walter, was it?
Walter, yeah.
I think it was really good as it, but I don't know, it didn't grab me as such as... I love Aliens, so I'm more at the Cameron than the actual other films. I really love it more as like an action type film with the xenomorphs and stuff. It kind of didn't grab me because I thought it was a bit more Alien 3 and then towards the end Alien.
Yeah.
And it stayed very far away from the second movie, which for me is my favourite, and I think that's where it kind of...
I think as a franchise though, Aliens is the only one like that. Yeah. Everything else is...
Well, I suppose Alien Resurrection is a bit more action, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got horror bits in it,
but did you not think the promotional material we got with trailers and such that it pointed more towards like an Aliens type film?
I think the promotional material was massively misleading. Yeah,
it looked more like.
Also, for me,
film.
I think David was more like frightening than the actual xenomorphs and neomorphs. I think he became the villain. He was the villain in it, and that's where, like, again, for me, it was like.
I think when he did Prometheus, people cried about not having a xenomorph. Now he's done this, and people are like, oh, doesn't like the xenomorph.
Yeah.
So I think he was right to take it away. I think it's done. It's a toy. It's a fucking action figure, man. Yeah. Literally babies will play with there's no fear in it anymore. Yeah. What the scariest thing in that film now is Michael Fassbender. Yeah. From his CD music technique about fingering and kissing his own clothes.
It was terrifying. David was really terrifying.
He was like a serial killer sadist, and it was like Dr. Pretorius in Bride of Frankenstein. He's like slightly camp, and he was just he's just something. You
just don't know which way he's gonna go, and that's the thing. If if you were in a room with him, you'd be nervous to think, what's this guy gonna do, or
And it elaborates loads from Prometheus, where he was just slightly mischievous to now he's a full-on lunatic.
But there was some really good moments in it. I did like the bit with the alien comes out of the fella's back.
Yeah, that was good.
That was so good.
That reminded me of Alien 3, but actually a bit different. In the medical block.
But yeah, it's just something just didn't grab me. I'm still on the fence with it. I don't know whether I liked it or I didn't.
I think a rewatch with you might be the thing that tips you on it. Because I think people going back to this are going to go and take it for what it is. A lot of people are going on about the horror cliches in it. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is. Alien, the first Alien film is a horror cliche. They just replaced Michael Myers with a big monster with a cock for a head.
Yeah.
And it's the terror of sexuality and stuff.
Yeah.
I liked that he kept the body horror element, and I really liked the Frankenstein's castle with David's experiments, and he's obviously become this creator, this engineer. He's killed the engineers and replaced them, and there's lots of religious symbolism and killing your parents and replacing them, and there is a heavy hand to it, and it is. I think it tips it a little bit too far, maybe, but I liked it a lot. I liked the style. It was like a gothic horror.
I was just going to say, I think that middle part of the film, it's as if Guillermo del Toro directed it.
Yes. Yeah. It's like it turns into Crimson Peak for about 20 minutes. Yeah. Or what's it? The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, one of those old ones. Fassbender's just chewing the scenery, and there's little elements of Blade Runner which I didn't pick up at the time, but I've read since.
Yeah, there's massive stuff in it.
They think it's more like a spiritual sequel in a way. Obviously, he's producing Blade Runner 2049 this year. Apparently, when Fassbender and Daniels are fighting, and she stabs him in the jaw, and he says like that's the spirit or something.
That's got a callback.
It's exactly what happens in Blade Runner when Deckard's fighting Roy Batty, and he says that's the spirit. And apparently it's meant to be a little throwback to that about replicants and
synthetics.
And what does Batty want in Blade Runner? More life. He just wants to be something else.
Where they have life, but he wants to create life.
Yeah. And interestingly, if you watch the first Prometheus back, when Peter Weyland's talking on the hologram, the pyramid thing behind them getting built, look, I think it's the Tyrrell Corporation from Blade Runner.
Yeah, they said they had put some stuff in to kind of link the universes, but
it's all sort of the same stuff.
Universe.
Interesting.
Tim, you sat there with a face like a smacked ass. Let's have it.
That's quite common. I'll tell you first what I really liked about this film. I love the set pieces. I think they were fantastic. A lot of it was built. It was all there. They did really great shots on camera. Lovely sweeping shots, and you can't fault the way it looked or anything like that.
The design work on the film
design work's phenomenal. The sound on it was fantastic. All the bits with the dripping water and all the sort of stuff you could hear all around you as they're climbing through the cliff edge and stuff. It was really fantastic. I loved all the stuff with Fassbender. I think Fassbender was phenomenal in this film, playing both characters. The American accent was a little bit twangy, but you can forgive that. You know, he's an android, so it can be like that.
Hey, to be fair, he was Irish for half of X-Men First Class.
But I thought he played the two different characters phenomenally well, and the way they interacted with each other on screen was fantastic. Obviously, he's playing both roles, so the way they seen that together was really well done.
If it wasn't a horror film, we'd be getting an Oscar nom, definitely.
Especially in the fight scene as well. I mean, I thought that was really
that was
well
really
choreographed.
I mean, they were just, if you think about it, it's two robots trying to outwit each other in a fight.
Yeah.
You blow, I'll do the fingering.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this film I think was really good, but I just found the overall plot story and the way the characters were driven throughout the film very poor and generic. Didn't really get a lot of time to really clash with, to get to know the characters that well. Even if you watch the YouTube videos, there's not much going on there.
Obviously, there's the whole religious aspect of it.
There's a religious aspect.
The Noah's Ark thing.
Yeah.
It's like Noah's Ark fleeing a dying planet and going somewhere else. And the captain of the ship, Oram, is it?
Yeah.
Played by Billy.
Well, he's the one who's got
Billy
the face,
Crudup.
yeah.
He's the religious guy. So there's conflict with everything.
Oh yeah.
And then I think David symbolises the devil. If Prometheus was about meeting your maker and being God, David was the devil.
There's a very yin and yang feeling about this film.
Yeah.
So anyway, when it comes to the horror stuff, I thought that the aliens come into it very quickly, and there's no real tension or build up in the whole thing. You kind of straight to the alien.
Do you know why that is though? Because the aliens aren't the villain,
but
it's him. I think we've all missed the point.
No, you got a point, but that's why I'm saying the thing with David is great. The scenes where the aliens come into it, I thought the way it all happened was very hammy and very easily done. On Prometheus, there's a lot of stupid things that happen. As much as I like the film, there's a lot of stupid things where they take their helmets off straight away, even though the oxygen's, they say it's fine.
Just like
you can
movie
breathe
logic, isn't it?
It just takes all logic out the system when you're supposed to be a doctor, scientist, that can, you've got protocols to take, and yet you don't listen to anyone, and yet, okay, I'll just take my helmet off on an alien planet. I don't care what might be going on in anything. I can breathe. Yeah, it's great. And the same thing happens in this sort of way. There's stupid logic that happens from almost straight away. Even deciding to go to another planet. The beats of this are almost identical to Alien, but yet this Alien Covenant is inferior in almost every way to the way Alien's done. They pick up a signal. They go to another planet. The android goes insane. That's probably the best bit about it, because David's, a good character. They end up picking up a facehugger or whatever way of getting infected, and then they all die, and then it gets blown out into space. Exactly, almost beat for beat, the same as Alien.
Yeah, I agree, but...
And yet you've got characters in this one which aren't very, relatable, I don't think. There's some good characterization and the acting is fantastic, but trying to relate to a lot of the characters doesn't give you time to, because a lot of them get killed off almost straight away anyway.
I think this goes back to what Ian said about the yin and yang. If aliens is yin, this is the yin, this is the yang.
Yeah.
This is the same thing, different. It fits perfectly. If Alien was about the human element and humans, this is about David and what he can do.
The protomorphs seem more deadly and quicker and able to take more damage than the actual alien, as they're running around like sort of big dogs or whatever, and then attacking the guys in the field. When the ship blows up, it looked like just before the ship was about to explode, one of the alien that was on there escaped.
It did.
It did, yeah, because he comes back.
You see it?
Yeah,
but there's two of them.
Yeah, one comes out the guy.
One comes out the
guy in the field.
And only one gets killed.
One comes back later on.
Do you want Grozz?
Yeah.
No, one gets killed, but you don't see the other one ever again.
You do in Dracula's castle? And
It's the one that kills the Marine.
No, that's the same one.
No, there's one that's killed earlier on, isn't
there?
Yeah.
No, you see one.
No,
Comes
sorry,
and
they
attacks
scuddy
them.
away. They do scuddy away.
Do they?
Because David kicks one to save Daniels and then puts his hand in its mouth.
Yeah.
Does
And
that
then
one- that
when...
one-
Walter. And then when David turns up and does the flare, they scuddy away.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So they do get a few shots off, but...
Yeah, one gets a bit shot, but they've ran off. One comes back to the base or wherever it is, the castle.
What
did they call it?
Citadel.
The Citadel. And that's it. You only see that one climb up the wall, which I thought was poor CGI, by the way.
Yeah, the CGI
Yeah.
is shonky.
He climbs up the wall, comes in, and he's the one who ends up getting shot by the captain. And then you don't see the other one again.
You don't need to, don't you? It's done its job at that point.
Yeah.
I was wondering throughout the whole film, when's the next one going to come back?
It does not. It's not like...
It's a full planet.
To be fair, no, it's not. They're all dead. That was what he said.
He commits genocide. He kills the whole...
No, but I mean, it's a full planet.
Yeah,
you can just get off anywhere.
I think that won't come back.
He was probably killed in the edit, and you've not seen it.
Yeah.
I think that won't come back, because if you noticed... It's going off a bit here, but if you notice when she went off on her own to clean up, she had wounds where it had jumped on it.
Yeah.
Maybe it kind of marked it, and that's why only that one come back.
Because it was what you was looking for there.
It was like, I need to finish my
that's all speculation, though. I mean, we don't know for sure, but for me, one went off, and I kept thinking throughout the film, where's the other one going to come back, and it didn't.
There's 3 in the bed.
It just kind of took me out the film a bit. Then you've got the whole sort of horror cliche attacks and stuff like that, which kind of disappointed me. I found it very predictable in like who's going to get killed, how they're going to get killed, what's going to happen. It had the cliche of saying, I'm just going to have a wash, I'll be right back. Don't go too far, I won't. You're going to get killed.
It was very much like the Lost World Jurassic Park.
The way it was shot, in a lot of the ways, the way it was filmed, in the way she was at the fountain. Again, poor logic. She's putting her cut arm into this water. She doesn't know what kind of water it is, what kind of bacteria may be in it, or anything like that. People are breathing in crap all the time, not saying anything. It's just all this stupid logic. And then, she's washing her arm, and she's just standing there, and you know what's going to happen. You know an alien's going to come up behind her, and then you see her head turn around. She reaches for the gun, and smash, she's dead.
I've got to say,
just so
you've
cliche.
got to allow a certain amount of...
I was going to say, you've defeated yourself going into this film if you don't accept that these certain things are going to set up for this film. It needs to work.
I'm perfectly prepared for this kind of stuff, and that's not the thing. I'm talking about the lack of autism and the way that things were done in the previous films, especially like Alien. The way things were done in that.
This is a sequel to Prometheus, baby.
Yeah, I am. And I like Prometheus,
merits.
but Prometheus had a lot of flaws itself in the same sort of way, just not as bad. I don't think this one just kind of got all the mistakes that were made in Prometheus and put them into this film.
I think in general now there's a different audience out there, and the audience now wants to get to the monster and the killings quicker.
Yeah.
Years ago, you could hold suspense and
The Thing.
You could do things a bit
I think
different.
you can still do it now. There's many films that are coming out which still hold up to that sort of thing, and I
don't think you can now. I think people want everything because they're used to watching Transformers and Fast and the Furious and things where things are straight.
And in fairness, this took over an hour before we got any monsters, didn't it? Really?
Yeah.
So it took a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it took a while until we got the neomorphs, and even when you knew they were coming, it still took a bit to get there.
Another 10-minute prologue with
which dragged a lot, actually.
It dragged for ages before we got anything.
I enjoyed that prologue, by the way.
I like the whole thing. Fucking hell. Right, let's not suck the fun out of this anymore.
Sorry to be a killjoy, but that's just my opinion.
We put the fun sponge at the end there. Right. Let's score this bad boy. I'm going to give it an 8.
I want to give it an 8.
I give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Fucking hell.
I give it a 6.
Oh, there we go.
5.
5. So 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 9 is 20, plus 16 36, divided by 5 is what? 7.2. So, Prometheus 2, Electric Boogaloo, or as the people are calling it, Alien Covenant, gets a SuperNerd score of 7.2. I'm assuming you've seen it, because we've just spoiled the shit out of it.
Everything out of it.
Stick around for the fantastic Jenette Goldstein.
It is brilliant.
Right, so with the new Alien film that's just dropped a couple of weeks ago, you've just heard our review. Today we're going to be speaking to an absolute legend in the Alien franchise. We're going to be speaking to Jenette Goldstein. Vasquez. Who's got some of the best lines in the film.
Yes.
So, Jenette, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, sure, my pleasure.
So, obviously, the first question we're going to ask you, as normal with these type of things, is how did you get started in acting?
How did I get started in acting? I, was in my high school drama club, and I wanted to be an actress, so I went to drama school. After high school, I went to New York, and I trained at the Circle in the Square Theater, which is in Manhattan, for a couple of years, and it was sort of a repertory training. And then I went and did the postgraduate program at Webber Douglas Academy in London. It was a very venerable school. It's no more. I think it's merged with Lambda now, but it was a very, very old school. And did a postgraduate there. And then I just, set off. Then I was in England. So I was living in England, and I did a one-woman show, and I auditioned for a bunch of the rep companies and worked on the fringe, just kind of did what you do when you're a young actress.
So how did Aliens come around then?
Well, it was really strange. I mean, I was in, so I finished my training, and instead of staying in New York, like, all of my friends did, I'd gone to England, and I was married to an Englishman. He wasn't an actor. He was a veterinarian.
Oh,
and
cool.
He worked for the PDSA, People's Dispensary for Sick Animals in East London. And so I don't know. I just I answered an ad in the back of the actors paper. I can't remember what it was called. I'm sure it's still around. It's kind of, if you have to answer the ad, the part is probably already taken. And but they were advertising for American, U.S. and Canadian actors who had a British equity card. Who could legally work in Britain, which I had. My husband was English, and I'd gotten my card, and it was for a project called Aliens, and I'd seen the original one, but that had been like 7-8 years beforehand, and I just, because they were looking for Americans, I thought that it was a film, I don't know, like on the Resident Aliens, when you get your card, so I thought I just thought, maybe it's about that whole kind of, you get your card, and some people, marry their gay best friend to get the card, or, there's shenanigans that go on, every country with that. And didn't have an agent, so I wasn't clued into what was going on. And so I just answered this open call, and I showed up. It was a beautiful summer day, unusual one, and so I was wearing a nice outfit, and I had a little sleeveless silk shift on, and I had my hair up and makeup. I looked a pair of nice pumps, and was walked into the office and met Gail Ann Hurd, and
Wow.
And I don't know. I mean, she asked, if I knew what the project was about, and I said no, I didn't, and she said, well, it's about it's the second part of Alien, and the sequel, and it's a bunch of Marines this time, and I just thought, oh my God, I'm dressed completely inappropriately, for the role, absolutely. And so she said, well, they're Marines, and they're tough, and then so I thought, well, I'll just make a muscle, my arms, because I'd been weightlifting for a couple of years since I left drama school, and then she was like, oh wow, so. It's a very long story. I don't know if you're interested in it.
Yeah, definitely. Go over it as much as you like.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so she was kind of, I was in the best shape I had ever been. Like I said, I'd left drama school, and I was, unemployed, and I was in East London, and there was the gym in East London with all the bodybuilders and boxers, and I just, I'd been a tomboy and a gymnast, and so I went there and kind of worked out. It was before the whole kind of like, body gym craze, so it was just a bunch of old, bodybuilder boxing gyms in those days. And so she said, oh my God, so she was confused. And she said, are you an actress? I said, yeah, I'm an actress. She said, you're not a bodybuilder? I said, no, I'm an actress, but I just, this is what I do in my spare time. And then she said, well, why don't you come back? I'll give you, she said, actually, come back, dress appropriately. I wore my, Doc Martens and my black jeans and, hair straight back, and do it again. And I want you to, read these lines, and don't worry. The part is, it's a character called Vasquez, but we're not casting for her. We're casting for some of the smaller roles. We can't give you the script, but we just want to hear how you sound. Right. So, I said, okay, and I don't know how you read a line and not be the person who's saying them. It made absolutely no sense to me anyway. So I just thought, well, I'm going to read it as this character. I mean, so I read it as a character, and she said, okay, well, do you have time to go study something else while we all have lunch? And I said, sure. And so she gave me a Hudson's role to read. Again, she said, you're not reading for this role. Just read the lines, not as the character.
That was Bill Paxton's role, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was in the original cut of the film, he has this long monologue where he's sort of like ginning everybody up as they're going down, talking about all the weapons they have. And it was cut out of the final, but it was this long, kind of really hyperactive Hudson monologue. So I went out and I came back and I read it as Hudson again. And she was like, that's okay, that's great. We'll be in touch. And I went back. I was very confused. I had no idea what I was doing or what they, and then they called me back again to Pinewood, and I met Jim Cameron, and and I read again the roles, and I was still very confused what was going on, but he kept talking to me about Vasquez and what kind of person she was and what did I think who she was, and then they said, okay, great, we'll be in touch. And I left the room again. I had no agent. I'd taken like the train out to Pinewood, and I'm packing up my gear, and the casting director comes running after me down the hall, and she said, can you come back? And I said, sure, they want to talk to you. So I went back into the room, and Jim said, well, this is really strange to say, but we want you in the movie. We want to get you before anyone else does.
Wow.
Which is kind of strange, of course, because I hardly could get auditions at that point. So sure. But I did tell him that. And he said, so we don't know what role we want to give you, but we know we want to put you in the movie. So here's the script. Do you have an agent? And I said, no. And then he said, would you like us to get you one?
Wow.
I know.
It's like a lawyer who'll get one for you.
That's strange. I said, oh, okay, yes, please. He said, okay, so you're in the movie. Give us a couple of weeks. We have to do some stuff, and then we'll let you know which role it is. And, with that, I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it.
Cool.
It was like I'm in a movie. I have a job. At first, I wasn't even planning to ever do film or TV. I was, going to be on the stage, and then 2 weeks rolled by, and they called me and they said, I've got some, really great news for you. They're giving you Vasquez. And that was just amazing. So, I guess he had to go back, to Fox and tell everyone they've changed their mind. They found someone, and yes, she's never, worked before, never heard of her, et cetera, but he was, he's a very insistent man, and he's, so he got his way. So, yeah.
So they didn't give you any sort of sign while you were reading for them that they liked you or anything like that? Were they just sitting there watching you read? Is that what it was?
Oh, like? No. He's very enthusiastic.
Oh, right, okay.
He has like a camera with him. He had he would like audition with you. Some directors, it's very rare, but they'll read opposite you and kind of crawl around. He was crawling around on the floor. We were sort of doing some kind of improvisations, and so it kind of confused me who he was, because I thought, they said this was the director, but maybe I'm not sure. If you think about it, Gail was 29 years old, Gail Ann Hurd, and he was 31. It kind of blows you away to think how young they were and doing this. So it was very informal. Gail's the serious one. She's the producer, but no, very engaging. Incredibly. I was confused to who I was auditioning for, but like I said, they don't give you the whole script. They just hand you scenes. They don't want to let it out. So I knew who I was in the scene, but I didn't know how the whole thing fit together. So they had given me. I asked Jim why. It was interesting why they had me read Hudson, and he had said that he felt that since the two of them were each other's foil in the film, that Vasquez thought everything that Hudson was thinking, but just kept it all inside, where Hudson just blurts it all out.
Right.
So if I could show that, but then just keep the lid on it, it was an interesting way to sort of, audition an actor. It's a very interesting way.
Comes across more towards the end of the film, now.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it is kind of incredible because, but I've been kicking around for a while before that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, so as you were preparing for the film, before the shoot, apparently it's rumoured that James Cameron got all of you together for weeks before the shoot so that you could try to bond and be natural with each other and be very banterish with each other like you would be in a normal Marine Corps. Is that how it kind of worked?
Yeah, it did. It was, it's again, it's really, it's a real gift to get to do that. I mean, you usually, you don't, they don't have the time. It's so expensive. You get on set and you meet your husband that afternoon, hi, I mean, it's, you have the script but you really just, to be able to do that. I mean, a lot of times actors will call each other up and try to meet, but not on the company's dime. And it was great. It was, I believe it was like almost 2 weeks, and we met each other and we got to rehearse and we got to go to the gym and learn how to, weapons training, and it was really good. Yeah, and we hung out with each other. I mean, Bill, all the other Americans were, just over there. They were shipped in, and the Americans like me who were living there, like me and Mark Ralston, who, and all the other, we lived there, so we showed, Bill around London and went out and things like that. So yeah, it's a very tight group of people. I mean, to this day, 30 years later, more than that.
So thankfully for us, you were cast as Vasquez. I'm just wondering, what was it like on your first day when you arrived there and you got around and you seen everything? Considering you'd never acted before, you'd never been in a movies before. What was it like arriving there on the first day of filming?
Terrified. I mean, basically how I think you would feel. I mean, exactly. I mean, I knew how to, know what you're doing, that. And then my first scene was we were in the atmosphere processing station out in God, where was that? God forsaken. It was a disused. It was a power plant. It was in south of London. I can't remember where, but and we were approaching, the nest, and with the whole crew, and I was there, right next to Bill, and the guy shows, okay, back to one. I knew, action. I knew that. Yeah. I've seen that in movies, And when they yelled, all right, back to one, I didn't know what it meant, and I just asked Bill, and he said, don't worry. That means do it from the beginning, Matt. And then he started telling me what to do, and he said, just don't worry, His big thing was, you're going to learn while you earn. And he said that's how he did it. So just relied on all the other actors, all the guys, So yeah. So
that was the scene where you're all geared up and you've got all your weapons and everything. Is that the scene where you're first going in to find the missing crew?
Colonists.
Yes.
Yeah, the colonists. Sorry.
Yeah. And, in the atmosphere processing station, yeah.
So what was it like being with those sets? Because obviously everything was built back then. You didn't really have CGI or anything, so it's incredible. Great. Yeah. You're walking into the actual environment. I mean, the set was built actually on top, as if, that was the whole idea. They had made their cocoon on top of a structure, and the art department had built it onto the structure. So you walked up and you walked in, and it was like that on Titanic as well. I mean, you would turn a corner and to see an actual lighting guy was strange because you were actually within this 3D ceiling, four walls environment. Wow. So there's no acting necessary really if you got a good imagination. You don't even need it. So you were just talking about the cast and helping you out. Was there any particular cast members that you really clicked with because you were spending so much time together?
Well, yeah, definitely Mark Ralston.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other,
Drake.
And Drake.
Yeah, Drake,
yeah. And it was great because Drake and Vasquez, they have the closest relationship, and so no, he's one of my closest friends to this day, and then Rico, Ross, all the other guys, and Bill, and Paul Reiser, he was so hysterical. I can't even describe how, you have to have him stop talking to you before the scene, because I would just, tears be coming out of my eyes. But, just ridiculous. But yeah, all those guys, it's hard to talk about Bill, having him just pass away so suddenly. But he was such a close friend, and same thing with Lance and Michael, and it's I don't know if it's unusual. I don't know, to stay that close, but we worked so long together, and we were all this. Well, we weren't all on one side, but we got together for a couple of reunions, just this last year, and and some of us hadn't seen each other in 30 years. Like, I hadn't seen Sigourney since I made it, or Paul. Wow. Yeah. A couple of guys from Canada I hadn't seen. A lot of them I'd seen, And we were at this table, and it was just with our husbands and our wives, our spouses, and having dinner, and it was like no time had passed. No time at all, except, we had fantastic children who were, teenagers, and, who were, weren't even born then, and it's just great. It was just really great.
Here at SuperNerds UK, we're huge fans of practical effects. Now, do those aliens look as scary on set as what they do on screen?
The one story I always tell about the alien is that, they were men, they were stunt men, physical dancers, in costumes, in these big rubber suits. And, I would unfortunately have to see them, when the tea break came, with their large bulbous head under their arm. They're having,
I can't imagine the alien having tea and donuts.
Yeah, so it kind of breaks, the mood. So I tried to avert that, looking at them, they're just chatting over, the tea lady. However, when they come down on you on this rig with their full weight, and they're all slimed up with this just horrible grease, and that's good, that you're not having to pretend against a green screen or something. So, and then the robotic face hugger things were just insanely creepy, with the
So I think another thing that's iconic about the Aliens film is the strong women in this film, including yourself and your character that you played, and Sigourney Weaver. How do you think that plays in the film? Do you think that plays well, considering you're around a lot of macho men as well? Do you think that plays well in the film for you, your character and Sigourney Weaver being like the only women?
Well, there's also a Newt,
and
the young
Newt
girl.
as well, of course. Yeah.
Carrie Ann.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that has a lot to do with its how it's lasted. There's many things that have to do why it's lasted so long and the effect on people. But back then when I read the script, I was so impressed how. Not only that there were women characters, but they weren't put there like as a weird kind of token or commented upon. To me, that was what was really groundbreaking. It wasn't like, oh, look at you strong little girl, aren't you good to do, or, oh, they were just, this is the future, and unfortunately the future sort of hasn't come yet, where you just, if you're the best person for your job, you just get on board and you do it. The pilot's a woman, the med tech. There are positions where, the best pilots, at least in the U.S. Air Force, are the women, and the Marines are just starting to do combat with women. But it made sense, and I just, and then, of course, the other main woman in the script was the alien queen.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, the film really is about mothers and daughters.
Yeah, that's right.
And just the incredible rage and fierceness you do to protect your brood, protect your the people you're working with, and that's with the soldiers,
Yeah.
You don't leave anyone behind. But yeah, no, it's great. I mean, when I do these conventions that I do and meet fans, absolutely, there are tons of women, young girls, older women, and along with the boys and the men who always cite the fact that it's so amazing that there was a strong woman. I mean, I don't think as a young girl, and like I said, I was a tomboy. Yeah. I don't think I can remember a female or little girl character I ever pretended to be. I always pretended to be a boy character when I was playing. Right. Because there just wasn't. It was if I was a princess sort of girl, which I just wasn't. Nothing against that. There, you got them everywhere, but there was just no tough little girls to sort of pretend to be. So.
Well, thank God you put one out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you also had to get your hair cut and everything, didn't you?
No, it was kind of cool. I had all this long hair, which I have again. Yeah. And it was, I was just like, yeah, let's do it, shave it off, and it was great, very freeing. So
Aliens, this was kind of the start of really like a lot of work with James Cameron. So how did your relationship with James Cameron develop as you were going from Aliens and then into a lot of the other films you've done with him?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you think, my God, I was 25. He was 31, and you think about now, it's like, my God, so close in age, and it's incredible to think what they had done, as Terminator. I mean, that was one of my, I love that film. Yeah. I mean, actually, when I walked into the office for my first audition, when Gail Ann Hurd was there, she had the poster behind her, and I had just seen it, and I just thought, ooh, cool, she's got a cool poster of that movie that I just saw. I was like, oh, that's really great, I love that movie. And she said, yes, we did that, thank you. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, what? So, I'm just trying to think, our relationship, I mean, he, when I moved back I moved back to the States. Actually, I just came back for a visit when they told me that, the film was doing great and Vasquez, people were going crazy for her. Did you want to come to one of the American premieres? And I said, yeah, my parents live in Los Angeles, and sure, I'll go back. And I actually came back with Mark Ralston and Rico, and we'll come and we'll stay, and we'll go to the premiere. That'll be great. And so I ended up staying during the film, and Jim would, he's the one who called me up and told me about Catherine Bigelow. He'd been working with Catherine Bigelow on a script. He would always call me up and ask me, how's it going auditioning and at Hollywood. And I was like, everybody thinks I'm, 6 feet tall and a muscular and then I walk into the room and they go, oh, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. That was a character, in the movie. What do I, but you look so tall. Yeah, well, they put the camera on the floor, they make you look, it was kind of frustrating in that, they wanted just to see that again. And if you just didn't walk in there, the imagination was, it ended, at the door. Right. So, he'd say, oh, that's ridiculous. You're so sweet and you're a great mother. I just had a kid and you should play mother roles. And I was like, I know. And so when Terminator 2 came around, he called me up and he said, well, I got a mother role for you. Little did I know that she's a mother who kills,
Yeah, with
but
one
I was
stroke.
A mother. Yeah. I was so. And that's, that's sort of how it was. I mean, he was always, he's my champion as far as, being a character actress, doing all these different types of things. So he just kind of, he calls me when he thinks something's right, with Titanic. Something he'll call me in like Avatar. I auditioned for the first one and we did all this, and I wasn't, the way he wanted to go for that one. But, he does that with so many of his actors and people. And, He really respects. I mean, it's the one thing I joke. Everyone jokes that they say, oh my God, on the set, he can be so overwhelming because he knows everybody's job.
Yeah.
Because he came up through Corman.
That's right.
He knows how to build sets. He knows how to light. He does, the one thing he does not know how to do and cannot do is act. He is terrible. He will never give you a line reading. I mean, it's just embarrassing. But, he casts and then says, all right, go ahead. So.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So what was it like working on Near Dark with Catherine Bigelow? and half the Aliens cast, man.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I know, it's so great. Well, I'll tell you, it was great. The funny thing is that the three of us didn't know that we were all auditioning for the role. I mean, obviously, Catherine reached out to us through Cameron and thought that would be an interesting idea in order to have this relationship already in place. But, we were with different agents, and it's funny because we were hanging out with each other. We would get together and go out and talk about how things are going. And, but we didn't mention it because it was sort of embarrassing to sort of have to explain that you were considering doing a vampire movie that was like a Western. But really, it's really good. Don't laugh, So we didn't mention it until one night. We were like, "Hey, Bill, what's going? So what are you looking at?" And then he finally said, "Well, there's this weird sort of vampire, And we're like, "Wait a second, I'm looking at that one too." And I'm like,
"It's like you too?
Really,
that's cool."
Yeah, it's like it's really good. It's really, and so that's how it happened. And she's great. I mean, this was her, they say a first film. She did a film where she co-directed this film called The Loveless. I thought, the script was so good. It was like, if you read it, it's like poetry. It's really spare and beautifully visual, real low budget and, really ahead of its time in terms of what independent film was in those days. I mean, independent film was either very arty, French film, that kind of, or maybe Cassavetes,
Right.
Or it was Grindhouse. It was very, that kind of film. Blood and guts. There wasn't that melding of the two forms like how you now, with that film, and then you get Quentin Tarantino, and you get, the mixing of the genres and mixing of the high and the low.
Yeah.
So it was really good, and it was a interesting shoot, just a very small cast and out of the way places. Again, we were all on location except for one scene inside the Winnebago was on a sound stage, and that was at the very last 2 days was the inside.
Right.
But all the rest of it we were in, truck stops and, all nights, it was so.
Yeah. One scene I can think of is the scene in the bar where before you kill everyone and you're just sitting there and you slash the girl's throat and then you drink a pint of blood from her throat. It's a great movie. I only watched it fairly recently because we was doing research before our interview, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's one of those gems that people just miss out. I think
it's a movie that's got a cult following.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
How was it doing doing all that scene in the bar? Because it's a great scene.
That was an amazing scene. It was. Again, you're just kind of wasted because you've just been on nights for so long, and I'm pretty sure it was still a night. And it was, they cut a lot, I think, trying to, believe me, Bill, if you thought those lines were crazy and the stuff going down, there was a lot more that was cut out because they just thought,
what a shame.
That is too crazy.
His character's fantastic.
Oh my God. Just, this whole place where you could just play and create a character. And I mean, to me, it's this, this is why I just think, theater training is so wonderful. I mean, you get this. I really felt like you're in this, in this room, and there's a stage, and you're just creating your character and working off all the other people, and a pretty amazing set piece that was.
Yeah.
It was funny. I just had the actor who played my child, Joshua Miller, the kid.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you know this film called The River's Edge?
Not heard of it. No, sorry.
River's Edge. It came out before that. It was by Neil Jimenez. It's an independent film. Keanu Reeves is one of his first films. It's really.
Rings a bell.
It's about a murder. These teenage kids murder this girl. It's all based on a true life story, and in this little small, depressed town in California. It's a great film, and there is this Joshua, the kid, was even younger, and he plays this just bizarre, horrible child. They're all pretty horrible, but anyway, after doing that film, he obviously grew up. He's a 40-year-old man now, but he's a writer and a director and a filmmaker too. So
brilliant,
excellent.
It's great to keep in touch with people that for a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've probably already took so much of your time, so I just want to ask, so what's going on for Jenette now? What's Jenette Goldstein up to?
Yeah, the Jenette Goldstein's up to. Well, I actually went into business 8 years ago. I opened a bra fitting boutique.
Oh.
Selling women's kind of like Rigby and Peller of London. I don't know if you boys know about this sort of thing.
Yeah, well, we've all got wives.
Yeah.
Tim had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to say this is the best time I've had researching all your stuff.
I don't know. Somehow nerds and boobs, it all goes together. There's definitely an overlap, I believe. But I opened a store called Jenette Bras.
Yeah.
Which the tagline is the alphabet starts at D. And it's bras for busty gals.
Right.
And we actually have we have 3 stores now in Los Angeles. So it's been 8 years. So it's doing very well. And so I'm doing that. And but I'm going to be in the UK in August.
Fantastic.
I'm actually going to be so I'm going to be in Sheffield. Doing the Showmasters, the comic.
Oh, fantastic!
Fantastic!
Yeah. So I'm actually going to be in Sheffield. When is it? Let me see. It is August 12th and 13th, and then I'm going to go to Glasgow.
Fantastic.
For the following weekend on the 19th and 20th, and then a third weekend I'm going to be down in Bournemouth for that show. And on that weekend, which I guess is the 26th and 27th. So
wow.
I'm going to have a really, really good time in the UK in August and, meet the fans. And I have a toy out. They had done that.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. It's kind of freaky seeing myself as a toy. But
yeah.
But you know what, though, that just shows how much of iconic character that you've delivered to us.
Yeah.
Well,
the amount of people who I speak to, and we all love Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, but the amount of people who, when you talk about Aliens, the film, people who say Vasquez is their favourite character, it's amazing. It's so many people. And I know a lot of our listeners are going to be so excited to hear this interview.
Yeah. I mean, you've been in 2 of the most iconic sequels ever made. Really, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah, everybody says your sequels are your lesser films, but I think you're proof in the pudding that you've appeared in Terminator 2 and Aliens.
And not to mention Titanic as well, which is a massive movie.
Yeah.
Again. Has Cameron asked you to be in any of the new Avatar films?
Not yet. I can, always available.
You never know, yeah.
About 35 of them now.
I was just going to say, so are we going to get to see a blue Jenette Goldstein?
Blue one, right? Yeah. That'll be good. That's a good disguise.
Well, we took far too much of your time anyway, Jenette. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, and Thanks for coming on our show. We've had such a great time.
Yeah, if you just want to say on this interview just where people can find you on Twitter and how they can find your bra place if you want, and anything like that.
Sure. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and it's just at Jenette Bras. JENETTE Bras, BRAS, and
fantastic.
That's me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. You've been an absolute gem. Thank you.
Had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to our show, and a big thank you to Jenette Goldstein for giving us a thrilling interview. If you want to hear any more of our podcasts or see any more of our content, go to our website of SuperNerdsUK.com. Everything is there, and if you want to contact us, it's all there too. Take care and goodbye.